Hi, this is Marco from Marvelous Workflows, and today I'll be giving you guys a demonstration on Humica. To begin, we'll be looking at the master data setup. This module is used to configure and manage the foundational data structures within the system, such as department, roles, employee type, and other essential organization elements. As you can see at the top, you have your general setup, and you can set up all your different workflow leaves, telegrams, general information, approvals, bank information, alert settings, room types, employee codes, numbers, and so forth. You also have the ability to set up your employees within employee setup. So you can do job analysis, performance appraisals, medical type, construction, structure, performance evaluations, and so forth. Within the master setup, you also have the ability to access your payroll information. So any parameters, tax settings, pay periods, benefits, and types can also be set. Leave setups can also be organized within the master data setup. Any time management that you may need to figure out, whether that's shift, fingerprints, policy settings, ins and outs for meals and break times and so forth. Those can all be managed within the time management. And at the bottom, we do have the mission set up. So you can set up different missions, whether those are food and allowances and so forth. To begin, we'll be going in depth in the human resources tab. So here within the human resources, it's kind of like a central hub for managing all HR related activities, including employee information, organization structures, HR policies, and so forth. So at the top, you can access all your employees information by clicking down here. And as you can see, you have a bunch of different tabs. So we'll be looking at two of them in particular. First, we'll go into staff profile here. And within the staff profile, you could store all your different warnings and employee codes, names, birth dates, salary paid, phone numbers, and fingerprints if they need for scanning in, position levels, employee termination dates, and so forth. So you could keep all your employees very organized. And as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a lot of information that you can include within the staff employee information. Another example is if we just go down to career history, you can sort all their history in different fields and write descriptions and just keep track of where your employees have worked and what they've done in the past. So that's very informative, and there's a lot of information you can store within the human resources tabs of Humica. Below, we look at the employee self-service. So this basically allows employees to view and manage their own personal information, such as benefits and documents. So it makes the HR processes more efficient by reducing like the administrative overhead and gives the employees more freedom. So as you can see, you have your myself, so you have your leave, request, shifts, pay slips, request overtime, and so forth, request late and early leave. Those can all be accessed by the employee themselves, and they can just shoot it into the system and it'll get directly sent to HR, again, allowing it to be more efficient and reducing the administrative overhead. Also within my team, you can list your team, leave request, upload rosters, compensatory leave. You can request leave early. You can request booking rooms depending on your industry and so forth. So you can really organize your team, and the team itself can input all this information for HR and higher ups to see. Any performance, like performance evaluation forms, can also be stored within here. Below that, any training, so any training requests that they do, any exams and training documents that must be done can be accessed directly by the employee within the self-service tab so that they can access it themselves. And stationary management like purchase requests, purchase orders, purchase receipts, and payments can all be accessed from the employee self-request. So if they need something, any equipment, materials, and so forth, those can all be stored and then uploaded into the system for maximum efficiency and to keep track of everything as a whole. Below that, we'll be looking at compensation and benefits, and this kind of manages employees' compensation structure, including salary, bonuses, raises, and benefits like insurance, retirement plans, and other perks. So below here, we have compensation. So we have overtime, so you can keep track of all your employees' overtime, any bonuses, any deductions, loans, exchange rates, bonus annually, servants pay, send pay slips, approved salary, transfer to manager, employee working, all those different computations, depending on what your company uses, can all be stored here, and it's very in-depth. And at the same time, we can also remove any modules that you may not be using. Of course, this is an admin view, so you'll see a lot more than what you would normally see, but this is very in-depth, so you could store all types of different compensations in that manner. For example, if we go to loan here, you can store different loans. You can access your different exchange rates and tax rates and switch them in that manner. Any approved salaries can all be stored within here. Cost center charges can also be stored here. So you can include employee code, name, number, start date, remarks, charge percentages, and so forth. So that's a lot for the compensation. You also have payroll as well. So exchange rate, generate first pay details, and approval salaries. Those can all be stored within here. Below that, you have your service charge. So you can assign to employee. You can also assign service charge values, and you can generate a different service charges amounts, and you can store those with all this information at the top. Below that, you can also set up mapping a COA, so cost centers, cost center groups, chart of account, general ledger mapping, as well as assign general ledger to staff, integrate anything to the finance modules as well. Those can all be stored. So these can include year, time, payment dates, description, currency, credit card information, credit card account, debits amounts, documentation. Those can all be stored within this module as well. And you can also integrate it with the staff as well. So you can include staff information, and any benefits can also be stored within the compensation and benefits module. Next, we'll go down to attendance here, and we'll collect this drop down. And attendance just kind of tracks employees' attendance, time worked, absent as if they're absent. So, and this module also includes functionalities for scheduling and managing leave requests. So as you can see, you can request overtime, and then you have your assigned employee branch. So you could see what division, department, position, those can all be stored here. You have the ability to download any important data and map those out using the filters at the top. You can check their attendance. You also have the ability to generate different attendance sheets, and you can keep track of their shift, their leave codes, their leave descriptions, and really narrow down exactly when your employees are clocking in and out, and exactly hone in on their timing and so forth. You also can generate monthly summaries and employee overtimes, as well as any meals if you're giving meals and so forth to your employees, like breakfast, lunch, or dinner. If you're allocating budget for that, those can all be stored here. And any employees that you may have on site, some employees may work remote, but any on site employees can all be stored here. Next, we'll be looking at the fixed asset. So this is manages the record, manages the recording, tracking, and maintenance of your organization's fixed assets, such as equipment, building, and vehicles. So if we go into fixed asset, here you can store your asset type and include a description, asset register, so you can really narrow it down to building, condition, quantity, it's active, any receipt date, and useful life. Those can all be stored, and all these can be configured to useful information that you may need to store for your asset, as well as asset staff. So you can assign a staff member to certain assets and see what remarks and changes and anything they've done. Those can all be stored there. And asset transfer, of course, if you're transferring your asset to different locations and so forth, you can keep a detailed, comprehensive list of where your asset has been. And these fields are all completely configurable, and you can change them around and move the periods around and really filter in and hone in on all the information that you need. Below that, we have our performance management. So this facilitates and reviews the evaluation of employee performance, including setting objective, performance appraisals, and feedback mechanisms. So performance appraisal at the top, you can assign by team. You also have the ability to assign appraisal form and a self-assessment. And here you can go by branch, department level. You can store the appraiser information here as well, and then it will generate all the data will display here, as you can see, by section, position, employee name, and so forth. You also have performance evaluations down here, so you can evaluate the team or a self-evaluation, and key performance indicators, so any KPIs that you may have, those can all be stored here and can be configured to whatever you may need. As you can see here, you can see who created them, the period they're from, their total weight, the KPI averages, whether they're active or not, any document date, description, so accounting, information technology, sales and marketing, and so forth. So all your KPIs can be stored and neatly organized in this manner. Below that, we have recruitment. So this supports the hiring process by managing job postings and applicant tracking and interviews and candidate selection. So right here, we have recruitment setup. You go to recruitment, and as you can see here, you have your code, your description, any remarks. So career fairs and social medias, those are all forms of recruitment. And you can also evaluate your recruitment by different codes that you may set and passing rate, and you can add remarks and filter through all those as well. And you can also store your recruitment process through different objectives as well as recruitment request forms. You could create job announcements, any applicants that you may have, those can all be stored here. Shortlists, you can also create interview checklists. So if you're interviewing someone, you can keep track of the information that you may need. The interview process can also be stored right here for easy access and to keep everything very clear. Any sourcing that you may have, so the amount you spend, vacancy numbers, document reference numbers, attached files, remarks can all be stored within there. Below that, we have our onboard. So basically, this manages the onboarding process for new hires and ensures they receive the proper introduction and training to start their new roles effectively. And onboarding is, of course, important for any job. So here you can store your onboard setup, and you can keep a very neat checklist and check off one by one what you need for onboarding. And of course, it's all configurable depending on your onboarding scenarios and what you do specifically for your company. Those can all be very interactive and easy to follow checklists. And you can also have confirmation alerts. You can store your hires, onboard announcements. You can do onboard checklists, like I mentioned before, and health checkup records. So these can be like hospital names, checkup type, phone number, descriptions, and so forth. Those can all be stored underneath the onboarding tab. Below that, we have our training tab, and the training handles the development and implementation of training programs, basically to enhance employee skills and knowledge. So any training setup that you may have, you can configure all the training here. You can store your training type, your programs or course, any modules, learning questions, answers, qualifications. You have the ability to export all these files as well. And essentially everything you may need for training can be found within the training module, and you can really configure that and niche that down to your company and store all the information. Super easy to access and use on a daily basis. And all your training processes like your catalog, your calendar, invitations, attendance, education profile, to keep track of all your trainings and what actually happens and what is said and done. Those can all be stored under the training processes for accountability and just overall efficiency. Below that, we have our integrate tab. So you have the ability to develop in you have the ability to integrate with other systems or software, so ensuring like seamless data exchange and process flow across business tools. So right now we have it integrated with our enterprise system, Cussin, and through that you can access the system using the integration tool and any other systems that you may need, like a CRM. We offer that at Cussin, and a more in-depth financial module and maintenance and so forth. We all offer that in our enterprise software, which is integrated here. Lastly, we do have reports, and reports provide a comprehensive reporting and analytic capability to generate insight on various HR metrics and statistics. So you can generate reports for basically any of the tabs that we mentioned before. All you have to do is insert the information at the top, and you could select all these different infos. And once the system is filled in with information, all you'd have to do is select run, and it'll generate a nice and neat report for you to use and see everything at a glance, and also export it and send it out to other people who may need this information. Thank you for listening to my demonstration on our software. Goodbye.